Hello everyone. So today we're going to be going over finding the derivative of a function using the definition limit h tends to 0 fx plus h minus f of x divided by h. So basically this is a method that you learn in the beginning of derivatives. You are able to find the derivative of a function using this certain formula. For the questions that you have on your exams or quizzes that you're asked to do so, you will be always provided this formula. Basically, you're just going to be applying this to the certain problem or function you're given. So let's apply this onto our question. Our question is f of x is equal to 1 over x. Okay, so I want to go over some certain basics before we learn how to apply this formula to this problem. Let's say I have f of 3. Well, if I have f of 3, basically all what I'm doing is I replace whatever x is with 3. So now I have, instead of 1 over x, I have 1 over 3. Simple. It is very simple as that. So a question that many people ask is that, okay, what do you do to replace x with x plus h? Well, same thing. If I have f of x is 1 over x, well, my f of x plus h will be the same thing, basically replacing x with x plus h. That gives me 1 over x plus h. So in place of x, now I have x plus h. It is as simple as that. So if we get that part over there, let us move on to the problem. So as I said in the beginning, our problem is f of x is equal to 1 over x. So how am I going to apply this onto the problem? Now, as I said before, you're replacing f of x plus h. Instead of x, you're just replacing it with x plus h. So my f of x is already 1 over x. My f of x plus h will be 1 over x plus h. All right. Now, if that's the case, my formula will change now into 1 over x plus h minus 1 over x divided by h. All right. And my limit still is there. Limit h tends to 0. But for now, I'm just going to keep that to the side. And I'm going to be concentrating on 1 over x plus h minus 1 over x divided by h. All right, so let's go on to the algebra part on the numerator. So the way how you do this is you're going to find the least common denominator between the fractions 1 over x plus h and 1 over x. So the way how you do this is you're going to cross multiply the two fractions. So the way how I cross multiply them is I'm going to bring x to the top first. So I have x times 1. And I'm going to do whatever function I have in the problem. Same thing, minus. Then I'm going to take x plus h, and I'm going to multiply that with 1, divided by x times x plus h. All right, so basically just multiplying the bottom two fractions, whole divided by h. Now, if I multiply these two terms, I get x times 1 is x. And this negative, one thing we have to remember is it applies to both x and h. So that gives me negative x and negative h. All right? Divided by x times x plus h, whole divided by h. Now, before moving on with this problem, I just want to see if you guys notice something here. So x minus x. Basically, we have a positive and a negative x. Those two will get canceled. So that leaves me with negative h divided by, I'm going to actually multiply these two. So x times x gives me x squared, and x times h gives me xh. So plus xh whole divided by h. All right. So moving on with this thing, I'm just going to write it onto another page. So I have negative h divided by x squared plus xh divided by h. Now, a fraction like this can be written down as h divided by 1, because 1 is actually supposed to be there imaginarily divided. So, we have learned that when you're dividing two fractions, you could multiply them by its reciprocal. So basically, I can rewrite this as negative h divided by x squared plus xh multiplied by 1 divided by h. Now, since you're not adding or subtracting the terms on the top or the bottom, you are able to cancel the like terms h and h. The only thing you have to be careful is this is a negative h, so that gives you negative 1. This is positive 1. So now, you're remaining with negative 1 times 1 is negative 1 divided by x squared plus xh. All right? Now this is kind of all what we could do with this in terms of algebra. So now we're going to move on to the last part you're supposed to do is apply the limits. So my limit h tends to 0 on negative 1 divided by x squared plus xh can be applied. So this is going to give me, basically it says all h's are going to equal to 0. So that means I'm going to have negative 1 divided by x squared plus x times 0. Because now my h is 0. So that gives me negative 1 divided by x squared plus 0. Or my final answer is supposed to be negative 1 divided by x squared. So that's pretty much it. Basically, you have the formula. You are always going to be given the formula. Replace your f of x plus h with whatever question you're given. Do the algebra. You're always going to have two h's in between that you have to cancel. But at the end, always don't forget to apply your h tends to 0. And as I said, always do that at the very last, because that's how you get an accurate answer. And at the end, you're going to find the derivative of the problem. And that's it. Thank you, guys.